A second round of anti-immigration rallies is kicking off in Australian cities today. The so-called March for Australia is demanding the government end what it calls mass immigration. At the same time, counter-protests are also taking place in some cities. Fiona Willan is at Sydney's March for Australia protest and joins us now. Hi there, Fee. What's happening there behind you?
Well, Mel, this group is now making its way through the CBD. They're being led by police. As you can see, many of them are waving Australian flags. Before they set off, the organiser gave a bit of a speech saying if they happen to come across an anti-racism rally that's taking place in the area, don't make any trouble, be loud but not violent. So that was the advice. As you can see, they are certainly being very loud. Different people I've spoken to today say they have different reasons for being here. Here's what a couple of them had to say.
The roads are so congested. The trains and public transport are so congested. We are not made to have 8 million people in such a small area.
There's no racism at all. We're accepting of everyone. You know, I've got friends, Sri Lankan, Muslim friends. They want to behave themselves and integrate and be part of the Australian community. Everyone's welcome. But they need to be bringing skills to better the country.
Now, you may be able to see the front of the march looks very different to the one that took place here in August. Back then, it was led by a small group of neo-Nazis, including one who got up on stage and gave a speech. I should point out that many in the crowd booed him during that speech, and people that we've spoken to today say that group would not be welcome back here. They feel that it does a disservice to their message, and certainly that we haven't seen any signs of them so far. It's believed they're not planning to march again until Australia Day. Mel?
Meanwhile, our reporter Natasha Shapova is at a counter rally in Melbourne. Hi there, Natasha. What's been happening where you are?
Good afternoon. Well, we've actually had to step away from the group because stun grenades went off and it was really quite loud. Everyone scattered just behind me. The group that I'm with is the counter-protest for the March for Australia rally, and they've marched all the way from the State Library of Victoria to Parliament, almost to Parliament. We're actually outside the Princess Theatre where there's hundreds of police. They've sort of form these two lines because there's one group here with the counter-protest and there's the riot squad, there's mounted police, and they've created this gap between the two groups, and then another line of police officers that are with the March for Australia rally, stopping the two groups from merging. Now, what the March for Australia rally is calling for is it's an anti-immigration rally basically, and it's their second one. The first rally was in August, of course, and the group behind me, the counter-protest, they're speaking directly against the racism and fascism that they're claiming is coming from that other group. And in the speeches today, we heard that they've promised to always come to these protests, every March for Australia protest that is organised in Melbourne. They've promised to also come to counter that message, to stand up against racism and say no to a white Australia. Now, that protest was quite controversial in August. We, of course, heard from one of the speeches, one of the men who gave the speeches was a prominent neo-Nazi, Thomas Sewell, who's since been jailed. And this group here with the counter-protests, there's a range of messaging here as well. They're calling to free Palestine. There's a First Nations group that's leading this protest as well, and they're calling for sovereignty and for treaty. And the police are here. They've got additional powers today to in the CBD and just outside the CBD, they're able to search anyone for weapons, and they're also able to direct people away from the city if they believe that they are a threat and potentially might cause some violence, or if they refuse to remove a face covering.
Okay, Natasha Shapova reporting in Melbourne there for us. Thanks for the update.